Hi, I'm Tyler, and welcome to another episode of my Christian Music Week reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, be it LCPs or singles, and after I listen to them all week, I come back here and I review them. I share what I think about them. So without further ado, let's get to this week's first release, the deluxe edition of Casting Crowns' latest album, Here. So before I dive into my thoughts on the deluxe edition of Casting Crowns' latest album, Here, let me just say a couple things. Number one, thanks to Christian Music Girl for requesting it. And number two, let's talk about what's new on this deluxe edition. So basically, Casting Crowns' Here album gets doubled in size from 7 songs to 7 more new songs to make it a total of 14 songs. Now let's dive into it. So, like the original album, and like the deluxe edition too, stylistically, definitely a contemporary sound with some worship influence, and some country elements as well. Mark Hall takes the lead vocals overall here, but Megan Garrett sings in the background some. And also too, there are 2 songs that Megan takes the lead vocals on. One of them being the a cappella closer to the album, a cover of Michael Card's song, Gentle Healer. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here. Casting Crowns talks about how we as the church need to come together to follow in faith wherever Jesus leads us, even if the path is uncertain, to share the gospel of how Jesus, in his mercy on the cross, has given the gentle healing of the hurt of sin and shame that this world desperately needs. Even if it's hard to share because the world would rather listen to feel good but broken opinions. I really like the emphasis that the new songs on the deluxe edition place on the hurt that this world experiences, but also how Jesus gently heals that hurt. I really like the gentle approach to reaching out to people in their hurt that this deluxe edition conveys. Up next, Rend Collective's new album, Whosoever. Rend Collective's new album, Whosoever. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here. Stylistically, definitely a folk, alternative, pop rock worship sound, with some gospel and country pop influences as well here. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here. Rend Collective talks about how in these painful times of unanswered prayers, we don't have to give in to division as we trust that God will keep his true, faithful, loving promises for the pain to not break us, but rather to lead us into his good plans of proclaiming, as the united family of God, the saving, freeing, life-giving love of Jesus that we can't earn to all the hopeless outsiders. Up next, LOVKN's new album, Here's to Second Chances. LOVKN's new album, Here's to Second Chances. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here, even if it's a little different than what I would normally listen to. Stylistically, it's definitely an alternative album with some folk and acoustic pop elements. Emphasis on the folk elements over the acoustic pop elements, by the way. Also, too, instrumentally, it's pretty basic overall, as it has acoustic guitar, piano, and drum here. Again, good album here, good sound here, even if it's different than I normally listen to. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here, too. Pretty good story this album tells. And here's the story. LOVKN talks about how he lost hope on falling in love after the past heartbreak of this beautiful girl leaving him, but God brought her back into his life out of nowhere to restore this relationship from this broken love. And even though LOVKN wants to take it slow because of the past, he wants to let go of the past and have a second chance of spending his life with her. Up next, Becoming the Archetype's comeback album. Becoming the Archetype's first album in 10 years. A decade, Children of the Great Extinction. Let's dive into it. Before I do, let me just explain why it's their first album in a decade. So, Becoming the Archetype was on hiatus for a little bit, but now they're back. And I was pretty eager to hear this album as I became a fan of a band that Jason formed during that time called Death Therapy, which thankfully is still going as well, even with Becoming the Archetype's comeback. So, I was pretty eager to hear what Becoming the Archetype sounded like, and I was not disappointed. Pretty good album here. Stylistically, definitely on the metalcore side of things, being pretty heavy. And definitely, as well, though, some progressive metal influence with the orchestral elements thrown in, plus the guitar play. And might I add about their guitarist, he knows how to play. Man, I love listening to the guitar riffs on this album. Vocally here, mostly screaming, but some singing as well here. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here too. Becoming the Archetype talks about how we started out being hopelessly dead people, destroying this world into judgment, until Jesus came to this earth to die and rise again, to awaken us back to the life we were meant to live, as the chosen remnant of God who walk by faith through this journey of persecution that just makes us stronger to shine his awakening light to others. Up next, our last release for today, Matt Sassano's Rockfest Records debut EP, in Defiance. Matt Sassano's Rockfest Records debut EP, in Defiance. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good EP overall here. The only part I didn't really care for is how the screams on the title track sounded. But other than that, pretty good EP here. Stylistically, definitely a pop alternative meets hard rock sound here. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here too. Matt talks about how he struggles to fight his sinful failures and the abuse he receives from people who throw him away for his disabilities. But he cries out in faith to and learns to be defined by the God who says he is more than what people label him as. And now he lives to defiantly fight to take this world back from the lies that hold it captive. As a disabled person myself, one song I particularly have to say I connected with is Not My Name, which I heard before hearing this EP. And I heard him before I knew his backstory. And I really connect with the songs fighting so hard, but still feeling like you don't belong. That's how I can feel sometimes with my autism. But how good it is to know that we are more than how people throw us away. Rather, we are defined by a God who loves us and made us perfectly just the way we are, with and without disabilities. So I really connected with that song. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week for 5 more releases. If you like what's on this video, please subscribe. Put out videos every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Also, if you have any thoughts on today's releases or what I may have said about them, let me know that in the comments below. Also in the comments, you can let me know if there's any awesome releases that came out today that you want to see in next week's video. Also, check out the new edition of my Means of Month and Dreams playlist that just released yesterday. And this month's edition of the playlist includes songs from artists like Brandon Heath, Josh Wilson, Colton Dixon, Jack Cassidy, and others, so go and check that out if you're interested. Also, want to wish you a happy Labor Day weekend. May you enjoy this weekend. And also, too, another thing about Labor Day is it marks the end of summer, and I just have to say, on Memorial Day, I looked forward to a great summer of reviewing, and it seems like we got some great music this summer, so it's been a good time reviewing this summer. And also, Labor Day marks the unofficial start of fall. So I am looking forward to some great releases to review this fall, starting with today's releases, the releases that came out today. So I'll go now. See you next week for the start of fall videos. Bye!